Here's another little one for you. So, like a lot of boring young men that studied history, I spent a lot of my teenage years and my early 20s, which I'm not proud of, reading books about bombs and guns and planes and explosions. Now, don't judge me for that because Netflix hadn't been invented. Um, and one story that's always stuck with me, it's not about a fighter pilot or a soldier or a sailor. It's about a statistician, a guy called Abraham Wald. And you see, while the US Navy was roaming around the Pacific sending carrier planes to sink Japanese ships, they'd noticed that lots of the planes they sent out would come back with holes through the wings. And that's not ideal because the wings are what keep a plane in the air. You don't really want it full of holes. Now the Navy top brass, the admirals, they had a solution for this. What they were going to do is they were going to go back to the factories pumping out all these warplanes, and they were going to say, weld more armour over the wings. Weld some armour over the wings and the planes will be safer. And we know that because that's where the bullet holes are. Now, Mr. Wald had a different idea. He said, leave the wings alone. He said, weld the armour plating on the engines, the nose, and the cockpit. Now, people disagreed with that. It's ridiculous. They had hundreds and hundreds of planes with holes through the wings. They didn't have any planes with holes in the engines, in the nose, or in the cockpit. Of course they didn't, said Wald. Of course they didn't. All the planes with holes in the engines, nose, and cockpit are currently at the bottom of the sea. That's a better argument. And the US Navy went with it, and more planes came home with holes in the wings. But more and more planes came home because a hole in the wing of your plane isn't always fatal, but a hole in the engine usually is. And it sounds weird, but I see this a lot with clients. They'll come to us because a lead sent them a message and just shot a hole right through their latest email. Big bullet hole. And we'll reply and we'll say, okay, where aren't the bullet holes? Because if someone's going to complain about your email, they're reading your emails. If they're reading your emails and nothing else, none of the landing pages, none of the supporting materials, then there's a problem with your whole message. It's with your whole strategy. And it's time to work out where we need to weld on that armour plating before the whole thing ends up at the bottom of the ocean. Because while a hole in one of your emails isn't always fatal, a hole in your strategy usually is.